All right, so then we go on with the next item on our agenda, which is a presentation from Dominik Samociuk. He is head of security of future processing. You are here, I can see you already, perfect. You will talk with us about the global landscape of security legislation, trends, challenges and implications. And thank you for taking the time. I hope you can hear me. Yeah?
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
Perfect. Well done. The stage is yours, Dominik.
Okay, cool. So let me start with sharing my screen.
We can't see it yet, but
I guess it should be done now.
Yeah, now we can see it. Perfect. All right.
Okay, cool. So first of all, thank you. It is great to be here. As introduced already, my name is Dominik Samociuk, and I'm honored to stand before you today as we hopefully will delve into the captivating world of regulatory and legal challenges during our session. As an experienced security engineer and the head of security for future processing, I have dedicated my career to safeguarding organization against the ever-evolving threats that loom in the digital landscape. In addition to my role in the corporate sphere, I would say, I'm also privileged to serve as an assistant professor at Silesian University of Technology in Gliwice in Poland. Here my focus lies in conducting cutting-edge research on network and security aspects, enabling me to contribute to the development of innovative strategies and solutions to protect our interconnected world, and also a little bit to our security legislation landscape. I'm here today to show some changes in the legislation and regulation around the world in the context of security and privacy, of course. During my short presentation, I will try to browse through several legislation buckets, as I call them, dealing with privacy, security posture, and security development of new applications. So let's cut just the point. So let's start with already known GDPR. So implemented in 2018, has had a profound impact on data protection and privacy. It introduced a harmonized set of rules and guidelines for the processing of personal data within the European Union. But first and foremost, high fines for security incident and lack of proper security mechanism was for the first time introduced in legislation. Based on GDPR success, or I would say the success of the fines introduced in GDPR, European Union proposed NIS, so Network and Information Security. Actually, right now we have a second version of this directive. So Network and Information Security Directive is to enhance the cyber security capabilities of critical sectors such as energy, transportation, healthcare, and finances. The second version of NIS establishes some kind of framework for member states to collaborate, share information, and ensure the high level of security across essential services, as I browsed through them previously. The compliance with NIS 2.0 involves implementing risk management practices, incident reporting, and maintaining adequate cybersecurity measures. For now, we have only a directive. That means that each and every country in the European Union needs to prepare, or rather change, due to this being second version already, of a law, how to implement this directive on a state level. We could assume that regulatory to be pretty the same as for critical sectors in NIS, the first version of NIS. So security practices, monitoring, reporting, maybe a requirement for penetration testing to be done on the product that the company is developing. Countries now have their clock ticking until the late 2024 to introduce such laws. I'm talking about the European Union, but United Kingdom as well as Switzerland stated that they will prepare similar laws. And lastly, Lately, we saw a shift in responsibilities in software development. Normally, when you buy software or any digital product, you are responsible to apply security patches. If you don't, it is your responsibility when breach or incident occur. Legislators are starting to ask why you need to apply this patch in the first place, and they are preparing a few legislation to put on creators of software to be responsible for security development lifecycle and security checks of created application. For now, we have been introduced to Cyber Resilience Act in European Union. The proposed Cyber Resilience Act aims to further strengthen the cybersecurity of digital products and services. There are, of course, other legislations, such as, for example, DORA Act, related to the financial world. But I also put three dots at the end because we see a trend in the creation and the adoption of new legislation initiatives, such as, for example, AI Act, which also cover a little bit of privacy and security aspect, but it's not a clue there. Of course, European Union is not the sole legislation hub, I would say. For example, in the United States of America, personal data security is governed by various laws and regulation at both the federal and state levels. We have various laws already in place, such as, for example, in California, Connecticut, Colorado, Virginia, and Utah, with several other states such as Hawaii and New York, to name a few, with limited or prepared regulations. Also, there is a push to finally solve private data transfer between the European Union and the states. There were a record fine for Meta from a couple of weeks back. We are not here to talk about the finances. However, back in the time, I assumed that with fines so big put it on Meta, resolution of this transfer problem will come before the actual deadline to pay the fine. And it actually did. So right now we have some kind of data transfer between the European Union and states done. Of course, privacy of data or the implementation of the GDPR lookalike in the states is not the only thing that are created there. There is also a national cybersecurity strategy that was introduced last year by President Biden in the United States of America, which will also focus on responsibilities when creating software, so something related to the Cyber Resilience Act in European Union. And also, lastly, Australia has also developed its national cybersecurity strategy to address the increasing cybersecurity challenges faced by the country. The strategy focuses on strengthening cyber defenses, fostering innovation and growth in the cybersecurity industry. However, also will introduce some kind of legislation and regulatory requirements for security aspects during application development. Right now, I would say we are in the place when we know that something will change, but don't know what, don't know when, and especially don't know how. Of course, the law is not retroactive. However, we are talking about the horizon of about the maximum 20 plus months before the introduction. And there is high possibility of applications covered by these laws being already developed in the development lifecycle. So let's keep in mind that in a few moments, we will need to shift into security development lifecycle of those applications, if not done yet. The common problem with legislation is how to be updated on the topics. Of course, we can look for regulation on government websites. However, as I showed, this is a global trend. So it is better to find a single place to dig deeper into a topic. Such place can, of course, be, for example, our internal blog, which I put the QR codes to. Where mostly myself create a short summaries of the status of security legislation. You will find there articles about the Cyber Resilience Act, DORA, NIS, privacy legislation. Of course, you can ask why do I need to know this in the first place? And the guys that have compliance officers in their companies probably won't. But let's look quickly at the implication for the businesses. So responsibility for cybersecurity lies with the software delivery. Sorry, it's crucial to emphasize that security should be a priority right from the development phase, and adopting a secure development lifecycle is the path to take, really. Even already deployed solutions from application to entire infrastructure should undergo the thorough cybersecurity assessment. This can include processes like penetration tests, commonly known as pen tests, or audits in alignment with various cybersecurity standards and norms, such as HIPAA or PCI DSS. Ensuring cybersecurity isn't just a one-time effort, it's an ongoing commitment that spans the entire software delivery and operational lifecycle. Once again, is there a way to actually transfer this risk from my company, should be the question. And there are a lot of possible options, but the one that I can recommend is transferring the risk into your technology partners. So most of us are working with some kind of third party. You know, why should you have a tech partner in the first place? The answer in most cases is simple, simply return on investment. Having a tech partner can be more cost effective, especially in the cybersecurity competences related to the legislation that we discussed previously. It allows you to leverage their expertise and resources, ultimately enhancing your cybersecurity posture without the overhead and expenses associated with in-house teams. And in relation to the legislation and regulation that I described earlier, you should make sure that your tech partner has cybersecurity competences and can conduct activities like pen tests or audits. And it's also crucial to ensure that your tech partner has access to available cybersecurity expert, as there are often a shortage of specialists in the market currently. Lastly, what if we do nothing with the regulation and legislation that will occur in a moment? It's really hard to predict the future, but we can base what happened to the companies that have problems with the legislation already in place, such as GDPR. And I put it some of the most known cases related to the fines connected with the GDPR. Google paid the 50 million fine for inadequate information to users about data usage, particularly in its ad personalization. There was a breach both in the British Airways with the fine of over 180 million pounds, also with the Marriott International for breaching or the breach of over 339 million data of the guests, resulting in the 99 million pounds of fine. Also, there was a big dispute about the fine for Facebook related to the Cambridge Analytica data scandal. Lastly, I would say the ChatGPT was for a moment blocked in Italy for the current inquiries on the ChatGPT parent company related to the personal data breaches. It is crucial to remember that this is not only the money issue, it is also related to the possible law challenges and the PR of your company that needs to be taken into account. It is not so uncommon to land on the first page of the newspaper, however, with not the correct wording related to the breaches that you would like or your PR department would love. I know that we are pretty much time constrained, and I simply created the landscape of legislation and regulation related to the privacy and security around the world. If there will be any questions or someone want to dig deeper on that topic, I'm showing here my email address and also a QR code to my LinkedIn to have a chat after the session. Hopefully, there will be some question that I can answer right now after my brief presentation.
Perfect. Thank you, Dominik. I do have some questions right away, if that's okay. We do have some minutes left. So,
Yeah, sure.
what are the most important security regulations every company should be aware of, and what recommendations do you have to navigate the landscape successfully?
Really, I would say it depends on the place that you want to sell your product. If this is the European Union, definitely it will be the Cyber Resilience Act, because in Cyber Resilience Act there is a sentence at the start that it will apply to every digital product. So in my opinion, almost to everything right now. It depends on the sector that this product is working. If this is a critical sector, you need to be certified and you need to start preparing for the certification almost right away when there will be a state law created. I would say in a year. If this is not a critical sector, still you will need to have a proof that you develop your product with security in mind. The solution is pretty straightforward, and we already knew how to do the security development lifecycle. This is not something new. A lot of vendors have their way of doing the security development lifecycle. Simply in the past, it was some kind of experience, I would say, or maturity of the company to actually develop their products with security by default in mind. In the future, it won't be their decision. It will be the decision of the legislators, I would say. So simply implement the security development lifecycle as soon as possible, even if you have only an idea and not the product in the development.
And Dominik, one last question. Do you think, in your opinion, is the regulatory environment getting too complex by now?
Hopefully not. I'm thinking that this is needed really, because we were in a place that there was no regulatory at all. The first one that changed a landscape was the GDPR. Of course, we can debate if GDPR is the perfect solution. Probably not. The next regulatory probably also won't be the perfect solution. But in my opinion, it is better to have some kind of guardrails on the software development than have none. And in my opinion, the direction that we are heading globally in European Union, in Europe overall, in the States, it's a good strategy. We will see. I would say not yet. It's not too complex. It is better than it was 2, 3, 4 years ago. We will need to wait for another legislation, and maybe my answer to this question will be different. But for now, I think it is necessary to have such regulation in place.
Okay, so you would say that it needs all the new frameworks to navigate the increasingly interconnected world, right?
Yes.
All right. Perfect, Dominik. Thank you very much for taking the time. We appreciate it.